Hey everybody, I'm Jim and I hope you're doing really well today. Last month, I was able to pick up this guitar, the Angelical Premier Mini DC, at an awesome price from Sweetwater's Gear Exchange, and I instantly kind of fell for it because I couldn't believe how much value I was getting for my money, and not just a spec sheet thing. The thing sounds, plays, and feels amazing, but it led me to become slightly curious because, as most of you are, we're a little bit gear obsessed, and I wanted to know how big of a difference really is there between this model, which is made in Indonesia, versus the higher end Excel series that's made in Korea, and there's only one way that I could answer that. Obviously, I was going to need this Korean-made Mini DC in order to make a proper kind of assessment here. I just want to warn you before I get any further into today's video, this is not going to be one where I do back-to-back sound comparisons between this guitar and that guitar, because that's not entirely what I want to focus on. I am going to do some sound demonstrations with this guitar, and I previously did make a full-on video for the Indonesian-made Premier Mini DC. If you want to check that out, you can click up here. But the main purpose that I'm making this for is just, I want to actually talk about the feel differences. Is there a big enough quality difference? Are the additional add-ons really worth the extra money? Because it's quite a big jump when it comes to the price. I briefly want to go over some of the reasons why I was interested in this guitar, and while doing so, I'm inevitably going to go over some of the differences between them. Starting with the pickups, this guitar comes with a set of Seymour Duncan pickups. This one has a 59 in the neck and the bridge. The newer versions of the Excel Mini DCs are going to have an SH4 in the bridge. The rest of the electronics are also US spec on the Excel series, with the addition of a coil split available via a push-pull tone control for each pickup. However, there is a lot of continuity between how the Excel and the Premier models feel to one another, and I think that's a really good thing. The neck is a great example of this because it shares the same profile on both of the models. The fingerboards are a little bit different though, as the Excel comes with an ebony fingerboard and still does even on the current production models, whereas the Premier Mini DCs, the older one has an Ovan Coal on it, and now with the new models you have the option between walnut or Palfero. Also, this guitar came with a beautiful hard shell case, and the Premier model comes with a gig bag. Okay, I realize going over specs is not the most exciting thing in the whole world, and that's not the reason why we play guitar, and honestly, I only do it because so many of you request that I do so when I make these sorts of videos. Now though, I want to hear what this guitar sounds like. We're going to be using the Dr. Z Z+. For the remainder of this video, I'm going to be talking about the feel differences between these two guitars, as well as my own personal opinion on the matter. When I got this one, the Premier, I couldn't believe how good this was, and I know that I got it at a great price used, but at the same time, looking at the competition, even if I had paid the full retail of $699 for this guitar, I still would have been equally as impressed, because it's just a solid guitar that is inspiring to play, gets the important things right. The fretwork was great on it, stayed in tune tune really well. I didn't have any problems with anything of that sort of nature, and the guitar sounds great on top of being very comfortable. When I got the Excel model though, I noticed one thing immediately as soon as I took it out of the box, and I actually had to do a double take and do the exact test that you're about to hear right now, and that was to play them both unplugged back to back. I'll start here with the Premier model. Now, I don't know how well that's going to translate to the video because I'm just using the room microphone, but the acoustic difference between these two guitars unplugged is night and day. And I say this with no exaggeration. This is one of the absolute best production guitars I've ever heard unplugged. And you might think, well, why does that matter? It translates. Everything does translate into the amplifier because you're just amplifying the actual signal of the guitar acoustically, and that's all the pickups really there for. They're acting as microphones. When you start with a bass line of an electric guitar that sounds that damn good unplugged, oh man, you are really off to something special. And that's how I knew that this guitar was going to be definitely a little bit of a tear up compared to the Premier. Now, I didn't think that that sounded bad, but at the same time, like, I was blown away at how good this thing sounded. One thing that really did surprise me though in favor of the Premier, the tuners. The tuners on this guitar are Grovers. On paper, they're supposed to be better. In practice though, the ones that were on the Premier felt way nicer. They're tighter, they have a better ratio to them, and I'm not sure what exactly is up with that, but I wanted to make it a point to mention it. And despite both guitars having a poly finish and a similar neck profile, this guitar as a whole just feels so much nicer to play. The frets are even the same size, and yet every single time I switch between the two of them, when I come back to this one, I'm like, yeah, this is the one that I want to sit and I want to keep playing with. And frankly, there should be a big difference in feel between a guitar that costs $18.99 and a guitar that starts off at $6.99, but is there really that big of a value difference? This is, again, totally subjective, but let's think about what you get with one versus what you get with the other and how much it would cost you to kind of make things even, so to speak, if you wanted to go down that path. I'd be spending about $300 on a set of pickups, about $100 on a wiring harness. I'd have to do the work myself. Fortunately, I can do that. And then another $200 on a hard shell case that's form-fitting because, again, this isn't something that's just going to fit into a generic style hard shell case. It's a unique body style. At that point, you're looking at what? $700 plus about $600, $700, $1,400. So for $400 or $500 more, you have everything done out of the box. And in my book, for me, if I'm going to put that much money into something, I'd rather start with this one. And I'll caveat that by saying this. You might be perfectly happy with the Premier version for a few reasons. First of all, you might not even care about the coil splits. I'm not even the biggest user of coil splits when it comes to humbucker guitars. I just like kind of rolling off the volume a little bit or cleaning up the amp if I want to go for stuff like that. Yeah, it's useful to have, but it's not a big selling point to me. Also, both of the guitars share the same gloss polyurethane finish and neck profile, so they're going to feel really similar to that extent. It's all about what are you going to be happy with as a player and what do you need. More importantly, I feel like this is something that in guitar YouTube is just overblown like crazy. What do you actually need to get whatever you're trying to achieve done, whether it's to play with your band, go out and perform live, record in the studio? Either of these guitars are going to be able to do that for you. It's all about the little things and the nuances that are going to determine whether or not you're going to be happier with one of these or just fine with one of these. Either way, I don't think you can go wrong. I think they're both really good value, especially compared to everything else that's on the market. Questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them down below. If anything I left unanswered, I think I pretty much covered everything almost ad nauseum to an extent. As well, while you're down there, check out one of the affiliate links if you're shopping for one of these guitars or anything in general. It directly supports this channel, and you also become a member where you could have watched this video without any advertisements before it was posted onto YouTube. Thank you for making it until the end, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy, everybody.